welcome to Engine Block. It is time now for something entirely different. You may remember us telling you about a battle between a Boeing and a Porsche. As bizarre as it sounds...
But it was really actually a great day out. It's one of those things you really need to see to believe, and it was a spectacular sight. Here is how Sanjeev and I spent a Saturday morning.
In the realm of motorsports, usually we see a battle between man against machines.
But how about machine versus machine?
Now today we're going to see a Porsche Carrera Cup race car take on a Boeing 747.
Now obviously a showdown like this can't take place at any normal racetrack, which is why we're here at Changi International Airport in Singapore.
Now Paula, since you're the smaller and sexier one amongst us, you are going to be on Team Porsche.
That is fine. They say size doesn't matter.
Well, I think it does, which is why I am on Team Boeing 747. Let's head inside. It's time to see who is going to rule the runway. Just to put things in perspective, just tell us a bit about your aircraft over there.
Well, today we are quite light. We are probably in the region of about 200 tons. Our engines, of course, as you asked me earlier about the power, each engine produces 53,000 pounds of thrust. So you work that out times 4, it's about 212,000 pounds of thrust.
This is a Porsche GT3 Carrera Cup car. We use it in the one-make Porsche Carrera Cup series in Asia. It runs a 3.6-litre flat six. It's got 420 brake horsepower, and it's a heck of a lot of fun to drive.
Now, how different is this car from another car that you'd see on the road just to kind of facilitate today's event? What's been tweaked?
Major differences between the road-going GT3 and this cup car is firstly the weight. This one's a lot lighter, several hundred kilograms lighter. Secondly, it's got a very, very different suspension geometry, which makes it a lot better around the corners. And last but not least, it runs Michelin slick tyres, so that makes a huge difference in the handling and the braking and the acceleration of the car.
Now, you're going to be racing down the runway. My only question is, how fast can you get?
We don't really measure our acceleration rate, really. We just go by a certain set of figures. We calculate our weight and how much power we need for the takeoff. So we use a different criteria for the... it's not a race for us per se. It is just a takeoff like any other takeoff.
Is that your way of just saying basically the car has no chance?
Please don't put words in my mouth.
All right, it is time to go racing. We're down on the tarmac. I've spoken to my guy, and he's pretty confident about winning this race.
I've spoken to my guy. He's pretty sure he's going to trump the aeroplane.
Well, let's just see what's going to happen. The Porsche and the Boeing 747 is heading to the start line. It is time to go racing.
You are going down. 5 seconds away from the start. Sanjeev, bet on. Come on, board.
1. Go, Boeing! Go, Boeing! Go! Boeing's really slow. Oh, wait, what's he doing weaving around? What's he trying to do? All right, 45 seconds to race 2. I would say race 2 because the first one didn't quite happen.
Exactly. We had what they call a false start. There seems to be a problem with the Boeing 747. No surprises, but...
Hey, there's no real problem. It's just that, you know, your guy probably jumped the gun.
But if we look at what happened just now, the Porsche really did seem to gain momentum at a very, very early point of the race, right?
It's got good acceleration, but once the Boeing is up to speed, expect that baby to blow the Porsche out of the water. Let's find out. It's going to take off. Race a Porsche versus a Boeing right here at Changi in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go Boeing! Go Boeing! Go Boeing! Look at the Boeing go, baby! Go, baby! Oh, Yuey's coming. He's coming, but he's got no chance. Coming close to the finish line. Keep going! Keep going, Boeing! Keep going, Boeing! 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 There you have it. When we finally got going, we were going. The Boeing won by enough.
I know, but it was really very, very close. I tell you what, though, I kind of misguided the finish line because because I just thought the Porsche was going to go all the way until the plane took off.
So, are you making excuses already?
Absolutely.
Man versus machine. In this case, it was two really good machines. A Porsche Carrera Cup race car against a Boeing 747. And we all knew from the very start there could only be one winner. And that winner took off, flew high, the Boeing 747. Say it, Paula.
But you know, kudos and props to Yuey. Yeah, well done, aeroplane. I mean, no surprises there. You beat a car. Ooh, who can take off? The guy with wings, man. But Yuey put in a really good run there, I think.
Beautiful effort by both the pilot and the driver. Brilliant race. Who would have ever thought that a Porsche and a Boeing would be racing one day on open tarmac? But it happened right here. And at the end of the day, all I can say is, I told you so. So from where we were standing, I was convinced that the Boeing had actually crossed the line first, and that's why I called it in our commentary. But really, I learned it's all about perspective.
And strangely enough, from my perspective, I was pretty sure it was Yuey who was the fastest. So we absolutely needed to get to the bottom of this. We got hold of some footage from the organisers who are much better placed to give us the cold hard facts. This is what we discovered.
Now, apparently, the media area that we were asked to position ourselves in was not directly in line with the finish line. But when we actually got hold of a camera that was placed across the finish line...
Ta-da! It's close, but the Porsche just nicks ahead of the plane, but only by ever such a small amount. It was a tight race.
Ooh.
A great way to spend the afternoon. Congratulations to Yuey for winning the race. What a feeling it must be to take on a Boeing 747 and come out on top, even though we did mess up our commentary.
Well, Yuey is the happy camper at the end of the day, popping the champagne, taking home all the glory. He can now tell his children and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, Granddaddy once raced a Boeing.
But also, it was all of Yuey's idea. So, on so many levels, he was, you know, the hero du jour.
For more crazy, wacky races from the realm of motorsports.
You know where to find us. It's Engine Block Monday night, only on Star Sports.